Jonathan Kay, recently writing in a piece for the National Post called "Moving is the Only Hope for Communities Like Attawapiskat." In spite of everything we've talked about here today, he writes, "In most communities that have no jobs, people pack up and relocate. Whole regions of Atlantic Canada have fallen prey to this cycle of creative destruction. So has much of Detroit. While this process is sad and disruptive, it pushes families to areas where they can make a living and exist in dignity. But the Indian Act created a system that perversely discourages residents from leaving even the most appallingly impoverished reserves. This paradox lies at the heart of the cruelty we have inflicted on Aboriginal peoples, and it is why places such as Attawapiskat are doomed to exist in a hellish limbo." Judith, is he right?
No.
Tell me why.
He's nowhere close. What he misses is the point, is our connectedness to the land. You know, we all want to live in our home territories where we can visit our sacred sites, where we can exercise our rights to hunt, fish, trap, gather. We want to walk where our ancestors walked and pick the medicines and to manage our territories, be stewards of our territories. And you can't do that when you move away from the community. And that's critical. You know, the Indian Act is irrelevant, but the government's always tried to remove us from our land because that's where we get our strength and our power. And that, I think, is what scares them.
Chief Day, many Irish people left their homeland because of a famine and came here. And you'd have to say that they're all better off for having done so. And some people will wonder why that's not an example for Indigenous peoples in this country.
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons why. I think that's just a general example. However, when you look at the history of Canada, we have a situation here where there's unfinished business and treaties. We were not a conquered people. We entered into legally binding agreements called treaties. And I would actually ask the viewers to consider this, that we are on the cusp of actually a new frontier. We are in transformative change in terms of climate change, world economy. And basically, we are going to see a change that occurs where technology is going to become so much more advanced and prevalent. Innovation is key. These people in the north don't have to move, and I believe you can create economies in the north with transportation networks that are electrified. You get the internet into the north. You create food security, equalization in terms of access to wealth and resource, and new governance systems. I really believe that the north, where these communities are, and the fact that they are rich in resources as well as having a carbon sink, I believe that this is a new and positive change in the future.
Cynthia, can you still get your strength from the land when it looks like there is so much despair in the land?
Well, I don't think there's despair in the land. People do leave the communities and they go back and forth on a regular basis. I mean, our people are highly adaptable. They adapt to all of the kinds of things that are around them. They move into the cities, they move back to the reserve. I live in Thunder Bay right now, but I've also come from the reserve for the last 12, 14 years. It doesn't really matter. That's not the point here, and I think that that's important that we understand that what we're seeing in the communities is something that has been created by external force and agency. And when we have the capacity to deal with that ourselves, it works. So that's what we have to do. You're not going to drive those people off the land. That is their land. Resource revenue sharing.
Mitchell, I'll give you the last 30 seconds on this.
Thank you. All of time in our communities has been marked by experiences and places on the land. All of our ancestors have returned back to our homelands. Is that the only solution that our society can come up with, is to displace us? Our country is accepting refugees from around the world, and now they're looking to displace us. Where would we go? Why would we go? It's not going to happen.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit supporttvo.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.